Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Coach's Corner. I'm Justin Egley, and along with me on the side here is Coach Roseanne Scott. We have a pretty good show for you today. We have Steve Brink with the Pack Report. Our player interview will be with Desiree Sterling, and then Coach Ondeka will be back to close up the day. But before we start in our interview, we're going to go into some highlights of last night's game. It was Westminster versus Grove City. Let's take a look at that now. Westminster would host the Grove City Wolverines, and in the first half, the two teams battled tough, but Therese Marzak would prove her team was the toughest with that steal and the layup to tie the game up at 18. 5 seconds left in the first half, still a tie game at 24. The Wolverines make a big mistake and foul Emily Ackerman. She gets a 1-and-1, makes both, gives a 2-point lead into the half. Now Grove City battled back early in the second half, and to take a 40-39 lead, that's Shannon Overdorf with a layup, and that would be the last time Grove City would ever see a lead in this game. The Lady Titans would then take a 16-1 run. That was part of it there. That'd be 10 minutes in that 16-1 run. That was Nicole Fee with a deuce. And then Desiree Sterling, who steals the ball, makes the easy layup, and Desiree had a game night as she scored 16 points alone in the second half, 20 total. Westminster would then just try to kill as much clock off as possible, and Desiree Sterling will make the jumper there as the Lady Titans would go on to win this game 57-46. And Coach, that game last night was a very, very big win for your team. Even though it was a kind of, I don't know why I say lopsided, but it was a double-digit victory. You can always improve no matter how much of a win like that you do. Last night, I would say the improvements might have been towards the passing. Passing maybe might have looked a little sloppy. In your aspect, what would you say that you need improved on last night?
Definitely, our turnovers. We ended up with 20 turnovers. And say with defense that we played yesterday, we would get quick steals, good stops, come down and just turn the ball right over to them. We were passing behind people, at their feet. In the second half, we came back and kind of took care, made better passes in the second half, and it showed. Absolutely.
And you kind of jumped on them early in the first half, and then in the second half jumped on them early again. Mm-hmm. And definitely a great game. But one, I think, major impact on last night's game was Rachel McCoy. Last time you played up against her, she was a big threat inside the paint. Underneath the hoop, she just kept doing that little spin jumper move that she has. And last night, there was probably 6 points I think you guys had so far, and they had 4, and she had 2 fouls already. Really early in the game, she had to do 2 fouls. She sat out most of the first half, and then later on in the game, she ended up getting 4, so she had to be cautious, end up fouling out. How important was her fouling out in this game and getting trouble in the fouls?
Well, her with the quick 2 is definitely important for us, because on the other side, our post got in the quick foul trouble. Tally got 2 quick fouls too, so it was kind of a chess match with that. But Marianne Selby came off the bench and did a great job posting up McCoy, because she had to play off of her, and Marianne came in and did a good job stepping up and making the big shots there, what kept us going into half even.
Now, when you say you lose a post player like that, how do you change maybe do you change your strategy, your game plan at all when something like that happens early in the game?
Yes, you have to. You always have that backup plan. So, and we knew with McCoy being the bigger body, being stronger, that we knew MA could body her up better defensively, so she came in and did a good job.
Now, Desiree Sterling and Emily Ackerman made up 2/3 of your points last night. Desiree with 20, Emily with 14. They were a big part of your success last night, and they were only 2 girls on your team with double digits. And was that really your main game plan last night, to try getting the ball into those 2 young ladies' hands?
Our game plan was to run the ball, and in transition, those are our 2 quickest people getting the ball down the floor and taking the ball to the basket. That's the 2 of them are their strong point. Taking it, being aggressive, and because basically we knew we weren't going to be able to score much from the post just because they were bigger than us. So we wanted to get them tired, get them into a full court game, because they like to play half court game, and no one could really guard the 2 of them, especially Desiree. She's so quick, she could take the ball into the basket, and Em, being the bigger guard that she is, she could post up some of the smaller guards, and that helps.
Yeah, like last night, you came out early with that full court and then kind of backed off of it, because then you got that big lead. Is that that was maybe your main plan then? Were you focused on keeping that full court at all during the game, or was that just to try to help get that establishing lead?
It was helped. We were having trouble coming up starting games and at halftime coming out and having a spark. And so I wanted to try to switch it up to maybe if they have to, pressure come out full court, that we could start jumping on them early and give us the lead. So.
Then last week we had talked about Maria Joseph. You said you wanted to finally start kind of getting her back into the game plan. You said maybe Saturday she was going to get in. Last night she got in, only for 3 minutes though. I mean, it was kind of hard to tell to say she was rusty. She only got a short amount of time. But how is she progressing? She's,
like you said, last night she was more hesitant than she was in the Bethany game, and I don't know what that was about. But I threw her in there because we had Fee and Desiree in the same time, and I wanted them to kind of make things happen as a guard situation. So I wanted a pure point guard in that position at that time. And with her conditioning, Maria can't really go more than 2 minutes in a spurt, and so you gotta sub her in and sub her right back out. So.
Well, Coach, you definitely have a tough schedule going up ahead of you. Let's take a look at the upcoming games here for you. We'll go on to February 4th. That's this Saturday up at home here at WJ. Yes. Lisa Kalski, a big factor in this game. How are you maybe going to isolate her? Is that maybe the main plan, is to maybe put more defense, like a double coverage on her?
Not really. I think the main concern is we let some people step up other than Tukowski last time we played them. So our goal is still going to be defensively the same things, to shut down everybody else. So we had Stenotic scored, I think, 18 points. We left her open with some threes, and that kind of killed us. And on the end, they kind of switched up defensively, so we're going to be prepared for them, what they're going to throw at us on the offensive end for us. So. Well,
thanks, Coach, for being here. Again, the next upcoming games this Saturday against WJ. And then I believe you have Thomas More. That will be on the 11th. That game will be a 1 o'clock start. Yes. So good luck with your upcoming games, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this commercial break.
You're getting like that.
Properly inflating my tires burns less fuel and saves me money on gas. Yeah, I'm saving Mother Nature from pollution, but more importantly, she saved me $11. Ow!
Environmental defense. Get green. Go to getgreen.com.
So nice out here.
Yeah, I used to come out here when I was a kid. Nothing.
No, I definitely heard something.
Look! Who's that?
Let's get out of here! What are you doing? Start the door!
Okay. He does? I'm sorry. Come on, baby.
What is that doing?
Think history is a little scary? Then log on to LOC.gov and see how much fun it can be. The Library of Congress at LOC.gov.
Once they've outgrown their toddler seat, they're still not ready for adult safety belts alone. 4'9" is the magic number. Until then, kids need a booster seat. Make sure your little pumpkin gets there safely. Visit boosterseat.gov.
Coach's Corner, I'm Justin Egley, and with me this time we have Desiree Sterling. Desiree, thanks for being part of the show today. Last night you had a great game. First half kind of a little slow, only 4 points, but the second half you just went on fire, getting 16 points. I think you're 5 for 6 from the free throw line. It almost kind of seems like there's a pattern with you that it almost takes you time to warm up in a game, and you really come late in the game, you really get on fire and really get the hot shot. Is that something, do you really need to start, get a little feel for it first before you start hitting the shots? Or is this just all accidental that the stats kind of...
I think it's all accidental. I try to do my best the whole game, and I don't know, maybe my adrenaline's just more in the second half, or maybe I'm just more cautious in the first half, and I don't realize it actually until now that you pointed it out. So I'll try to do better next game.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, let's talk about your basketball history. How did you first get involved with basketball? What made you, start playing the sport?
It was the only thing that I was better at than my brother, and so I've been playing since I was in the 4th grade, and that's just something that he still can't beat me at. So I'm going to keep going until that. He's older than me. He's 24. So.
Have any good teams in high school? Any playoff games or win any championships?
We won sectionals, and we went to states my sophomore year in high school. So we did really well. We had a great team all throughout my career in high school. So.
Now, going back to last night, you had I believe it was your right hand, was it taped up?
Yes.
Your thumb. What's wrong with your thumb? Big injury, or what's going on there?
The other day at practice, I kind of just dislocated it, if you will, and it's just been giving me problems. And Coach makes us do push-ups at practice, so it's like I have to tape it up just for precaution, so it doesn't
Maybe we'll have to
hurt
talk to
anymore.
her about minimizing the amount of push-ups you have to do. Also, in last night's game, you really were doing awesome on defense. You usually always do, and you really reading when they were passing, and you made that fast break for the steal and the easy layup. How much time do you spend on defense as a team?
As a team, practicing?
Yeah, practicing-wise.
Practicing, we spend probably, out of a 2-hour day, we probably spend an hour, 15, 20 minutes on just defense.
What's your favorite defensive play?
None.
None? You're not a defensive person at all?
No, absolutely not. So just go out there and do it. It's kind of...
Now, what do you think your team does best, though, as a whole, when it comes to game time?
As a whole, I think that we play better offensively, I guess. The stats probably wouldn't show that, but I think we are a better offensive team, and that just helps us stay in the games. So.
And what made you want to come here to Westminster and play basketball for Coach Scott? Is there anything, what you maybe like most even about Coach Scott, playing for Coach Scott? Or what do you hate the most playing for Coach Scott?
She's a younger coach, and so I think that it would be easy. I thought that it would be easier to get on her good side. I don't know. She's a very good coach. She knows what she's talking about. Plus, that she's already been in the situation, and so she's a very good person to look up to in the situation. So.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate you coming in, and good luck in your next coming games. Have a good one Saturday against W&J. Anything that you guys have plans yet so far in order to be successful?
We take it one game at a time, so we'll see tonight at practice.
All right. Well, good luck to you. We'll be back right after this commercial break. Steve Brink will have your Pack Report. Please stay tuned to Coach's Corner.
Will the owner of a spare tire please report to the press box to retrieve your appendage? They must have lost this parking further from the stadium and walking in.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. Wanted some matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very another very nice one. Holy smile. For the gorgeous force is what you desire. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Fire.
Come on! This way!
Who is that guy?
I don't know! Hurry up! He's right behind us!
I know!
Come on, get up!
407 years ago.
Think history is a little scary? Then log on to LOC.gov and see how much fun it can be. The Library of Congress at LOC.gov.
What do you got there, Dave?
Looks like someone's thunder thighs.
They must have lost them playing in the snow with their kids. Let's get back to work.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner, everyone. I'm Steve Brink, and I'm here to bring you another edition of the Pack Report. Let's get things started by taking a look at the updated conference standings on the women's side. And these standings include up until last Saturday's games. And you'll see that W&J and Thomas More are still tied at the top with 6-1 records. Teals in sole possession a third with the 4-3 mark. Bethany's in fourth at 3-4, followed by Grove City, Waynesburg, and finally the Lady Titans of Westminster, who find themselves in last place with the 1-6 record. Well, now we're going to check out what happened around the pack last week on the women's side. And Wednesday, Waynesburg's Rachel Dillon made 2 free throws in the final seconds to help hold off Westminster 62-59. Denise Kennedy and Katie Lewandowski each had 18 points in the victory, while Dillon poured in a season-high 13 points. Also on Wednesday, Teal survived a scare as freshman Amber Bodrick scored a single-game-high 51 points to lead the Lady Tomcats to a 92-89 overtime victory over the Lady Bison of Bethany. The 51 points by Bodrick are the most points by any player on any NCAA level, male or female, all season long. The Frosh scored 14 of her game-high 51 when it counted most in the overtime period. W&J held Grove City to just 29% from the field as the Lady Presidents beat the Lady Wolverines 58-45 last Wednesday. To go along with the poor shooting, Grove City also committed 23 turnovers. W&J guard Lee Solkowski led all scorers in the game with 14 points. And finally, Wednesday in non-league action, the Lady Saints of Thomas More lost a heartbreaker falling to Wittenberg University by a score of 60-57. The Lady Saints almost erased a 13-point second-half deficit, but lost by 3 in the end. On Saturday, though, Thomas More got back to its winning ways as the Lady Saints won another conference game by beating Teal 68-44. Junior Megan Wood scored 16 points and grabbed 9 boards as the Lady Saints improved their conference record to 6-1 on the season. 5 Lady Bison players scored in the double figures as Bethany got revenge from earlier in the season and beat Westminster 78-73. Courtney Irwin led all scorers with 16 points in the win. Desiree Sterling led all Lady Titans with 13, while freshman guard Gina Brunetti scored a career-high 10 points in the loss. Grove City was off this past weekend, but W&J almost wished they would have been. The Lady Presidents survived down in Waynesburg as W&J's Lauren Slampack blocked a potential game-winning shot in the closing seconds as the Lady Presidents prevailed with a 54-53 win. W&J was held scoreless over the final 4 minutes of the game, but Waynesburg could not capitalize. Well, now it's time to acknowledge the Women's Pack Player of the Week, and this week the award goes to Teal's Amber Bodrick for the second week in a row. The freshman from Cardinal Mooney High School in Boardman, Ohio, averaged 33.5 points and 9 rebounds as she led Teal to a 1-1 conference record last week, including her game-high 51 points on Wednesday against Bethany. Now taking a look at the scoring leaders on the women's side, W&J's Lee Solkowski is still in first place with almost 23 points a game. Amber Bodrick is in second, followed closely by Bethany's Jenny Place. Fourth place goes to Waynesburg Katie Lewandowski. And finally, fifth place goes to Grove City's Rachel McCoy, who's averaging just over 14 points a game. Well, now let's flip things over to the men's side, and if you take a look at the updated standings as of last Saturday, you'll see that Bethany is still on top at a perfect 7-0. W&J is only 1 game out at 6-1. Waynesburg is in third, followed by Grove City. Westminster and Thomas More are tied for fifth with a winless Teal team in last place at 0-7. And now it's time to take a look at what happened around the pack last week on the men's side. Thomas More was off last Wednesday, but Westminster traveled down to Waynesburg and got blown out as 6 Waynesburg players scored in double figures. Bo Wilson led the way with 23 points for the Yellow Jackets, but Wilson's teammate Jeff Nero did a little bit of everything in the win, scoring 14 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals as he led Waynesburg to a 117-87 win over the Titans. Bethany scored 100 points for the 7th time this season as the Bison beat up on Teal, winning by a score of 102-64. Senior Matt Drehos led the way as he scored a game-high 25 points. His brother Mike recorded a double-double with 12 points and 11 boards. Amazingly, Teal shot 50% from the field on the night and still managed to lose by 40 points. Finally, on Wednesday, W&J continued their winning ways in the PAC this season as they beat Grove City 72-57. John Cox and Brandon Studer both scored 17 points in the win. This is the first time in the last 10 tries that W&J has beaten Grove City in the regular season. However, W&J did beat the Wolverines in last year's PAC tournament. Saturday's matchups were filled with great action as all 3 games provided lots of excitement. Thomas More beat Teal 73-66 in the battle for last place in the conference. Saints forward R.K. Thurman scored 23 points and grabbed 11 rebounds, but it was another Saints forward who stole the show. Junior E.J. Haynes was just 3 blocks shy of a triple-double as he posted 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 blocks. West Virginia might have seen the best game of the day Saturday as the Westminster Titans nearly upset the top-ranked Bethany Bison down in WVU, but Westminster's upset bid fell short as they lost 94-86. Matt Drehos had another huge game against the Titans as he scored 32 points and pulled down a school record 26 rebounds in the win. Mark DeMonico and Craig Hannon both scored 24 points for the Titans. And finally on Saturday, W&J took sole possession of second place in the PAC as they defeated Waynesburg 77-71. John Cox scored 19 points as the Presidents swept the season series from the Yellow Jackets. And now it's time to acknowledge the PAC Player of the Week on the men's side. And for the second consecutive week, the award goes to Bethany's Matt Drehos. The senior forward from Wheeling, West Virginia, averaged 28.5 points and 15.5 rebounds and 4 blocks as he led the Bison to 2 more conference victories over Teal and Westminster last week. Against the Titans, Drehos grabbed a school record 26 rebounds, which is currently the Division III single-game high for the 05-06 season. Now it's time to take a look at the scoring leaders on the men's side real quick. And these stats include up until last weekend's game. And if we take a look, you'll see that Bethany's Matt Drehos leads the way, followed by Mark DeMonico of Westminster. W&J's John Cock is in third with just over 20 points a game. Trailing Cock by 1/10 of a point is Westminster's Craig Hannon. And Mike Drehos of Bethany comes in fifth. On tap for this weekend, both the men and women, we have Thomas More making the long trip up to Grove City. W&J travels to Westminster, and Bethany pays a visit to Waynesburg while Teal has the weekend off. That does it for this week's edition of the Pack Report. We'll be right back with more Coach's Corner right after this.
Can I help you, sir?
Found these over by the stairs.
Okay, thank you.
What are they?
Love handles. Lots of people lose them taking the stairs instead of the escalator.
Every week we return all our cans and bottles. Yeah, we hope to reduce the world's waste.
But aluminum? It's like gold.
There's a can.
Where?
Get it.
Environmental defense. Get green. For more tips, go to getgreen.com.
Come on, boy. Come on. What do you got there, Yogi? Huh? What do you found? What do you got, little fella? Drop it. Looks like someone's butt. Man, they probably lost it playing with their kids. Hey, leave it. Come on. Come on.
And welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm Justin Egley, and alongside me is Coach Ondeco. And Coach, do you play with your kids 30 minutes a day to lose your butt?
No, I get plenty of time out there though with her.
Before we start the interview, we have the highlights of last night's game. A very, very good win for you guys. So let's take a look at the highlights of last night's game.
The Westminster Titans taking on Grove City Wolverines here at Buzz Road Gymnasium, leading 18-16 in the first half. Nick Adams double times it from three-point land, helping the Titans to a 20-8 run. That time they're fatting to Adams. This time Chauncey Whitlow to Adams for three more. Adams had 18 points on the evening. 5 of those were three-pointers. Now Greg Rosatelli with a steal dishes the rock off to Nick DiNatale for the easy lay-in on the right-hand side. Now a beautiful between-the-legs no-look pass to Craig Hannon, who drains it from 3 from long distance. And Craig Hannon will take it upon himself this time to put it in for 2 the hard way with a right-handed layup. Hannon, 13 points, 4 assists, and will take us to the second half. Jake the Snake Zatchok hits the three-pointer with a man in his face. The assist goes to Craig Hannon, and the inbound pass will be Brian Fadden, who strips the defender. Rosatelli lays it up and in for the deucer. Now Mark DeMonico will come back into the game, and Rosatelli will strip, feed the ball to DeMonico, and just like any other man, he gets satisfied when he's full. He puts it up and in. Mark DeMonico, 23 points, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Final score 90-69.
Now, Coach, last night it was a big win for your team, and the record between the two teams are pretty similar, pretty even, but like the way the record was, the way you guys played last night, it was not even at all. It was really unfair. It almost looked like the way you guys played, especially compared to last time. Last time you played Grove City, though, you shot 63%, or they shot 63% from the field and had 14 turnovers. They also had no three-pointers last night. Last night they shot 46% and had 24 turnovers. Would you say that major difference of the turnovers and the shooting percentages was the key of winning last night's game?
Well, certainly, and I think, you know, looking back on last night's game and the first time we played them, we're just a much different team. You know, that was one of our first games without Steven. It was Greg's first game after transferring in. We were kind of just switching our styles again for about the third time in the year. And now we're pretty set on the way we're playing and who we're playing and how we're playing. And, you know, we just feel real confident with the way things are going right now. And, again, I just think we're a totally different team even than we were 3 weeks ago against them.
Now, after looking at the tapes the first time at Grove City and then going into last night's game, what kind of adjustments did you make in order to be successful last night?
Well, our biggest adjustment was we just thought offensively they would have a tough time guarding us. And, you know, again, I thought they would have a tough time over there. But, again, Greg just got here. David Richards played really well and helped us last night. And, you know, we were just able to, because we were able to spread the floor offensively, that let us take a little less risk defensively and just play a little more solid defense. So the kids all did a great job on the defensive end.
in offensive-wise, you finally got that run that you've been waiting for earlier in the game. That way you don't have to really catch up. So it's good to see that. Now, Nick Adams, he really jumped it up as well. Jumped up his game last night as well. He had 18 points, 5 for 9 from the 3-point distance. And would you say he's really starting to become more of a key player in your offensive role?
Yeah, Nick had a great game last night overall. He played a ton of great defense for us. Played very well down at Bethany, getting 5 or 6 defensive rebounds, and he was playing inside there against the Drehoses. Him and Brian Fadden have just done a great job the past 2 games. But I think Nick, last year he had taken a year off of basketball, got in with us late after finishing football, and even this year before the preseason cracked his collarbone and missed a bunch of practices. So I think he's just starting to get a whole lot of confidence and really understanding how we're playing. And, Nick's a really good athlete. I think he's going to finish strong for us and hopefully have a good year for us next year.
Now, going into last night's game, there was a 4-game losing streak. I know this doesn't always happen, but when your team does get in a slump like that and start losing games, how do you keep them motivated to, and then come out with a big game like that last night?
Well, it was interesting because we talked about that before the game. I said I think there aren't many teams with 5 wins that have a lot to look forward to at this point in time of the season, and we still have not only the opportunity but maybe get a 3 seed in our tournament and win our tournament. I think we can do that if we play like we did last night, but also just rolling this into next year. We're still focused on this year, but we've got everybody but 2 players back next year. We'll get Steven back. Dom's probably going to be back, and we think if we can finish this year strong and roll it into next year, we'll be good. So we got a lot to play for, and again, I think the kids showed that last night in the way they played.
Now, like I asked Coach Scott, even though you have a big win like something like that last night, you can always improve. What would you say were some of maybe the improvements, if any, that you would have made after last night's game?
Well, we got to keep improving defensively and rebounding wise with the size we have right now. Again, next year we will add some taller players back into it and be a little better. But I think just getting used to playing together. Again, as David's a freshman. We got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores playing together, and just the cohesion of them playing on the court together is just going to get better from time to time.
Now, you're talking about next year, how you have some bigger players coming up next year. Have you started recruiting yet? How's recruitment looking like?
Oh yeah, we especially at this level, pretty much recruit all year round. Because we don't have National Signing Day or binding letters of intent or anything like that. So, we're just getting out to high schools, watching games, getting kids interested, and things are going according to last year, pretty much along the same lines. So we felt like we've brought in a lot of good players the last 2 years, and hopefully we'll do so again this year.
What would you say maybe some of the heaviest recruiting areas that you do, or maybe some of the heavy areas that we actually get more of the students come in from?
Well, we spend a lot of time, just over in the Youngstown area in Ohio, and then also down in Pittsburgh. And it always seems like there's an area or two that's has a few more seniors this year. Last year we hardly recruited in Ohio much at all. It was mostly down in Pittsburgh. Okay. This year we've got actually quite a few more people interested in the Ohio area. So, just go where the players are.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, you're a Steelers fan. We have to make fun of Steve Brink because he won't wear any black and gold or anything. That's why we have the terrible towel off. That's why I have the playoff beard. What are your predictions for this week's games?
Well, certainly I'm going to root for the Steelers and hope they win. My roommate Matt Rach, who was an All-American here, is an offensive coach and assistant down there.
Oh, yeah?
If they show the press box and show Ken Wisenhunt in the offensive coordinator's booth, Matt's always right behind him, so you can keep a lookout. I always look for that, and I'm just so happy for him and proud of him. And again, hopefully the Steelers will come out with a victory.
Absolutely, same here. Well, Coach, thanks for being on the show, and thank all of you for watching our show tonight. I appreciate Connie Lyons coming up next. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Agley. Take care.